Our next team, Uavia.
So, hi everyone, I am Clément Christomanos, and I'm going to introduce you Uavia, which is a company we work on since 1.5 years. And recently the company was officially and legally incorporated in France. We started with 2,000 euros in France. So, I'm going to start this speech with a little quote. Man must rise above the earth, and for only thus will he fully understand the world in which he lives. And in fact, man has risen above the earth for quite a long time with helicopters, and businesses use helicopters to get information on infrastructures, pipeline, power grids, etc. But with helicopter aerial inspections are associated huge costs, risk because human lives are at stake during those inspections, and also pollution, of course, noise pollution, and of course carbon emissions. The next revolution in that aerial inspection field are drones. I'm sure you heard about drones being used in agriculture to help farmers reduce their water consumption, in disaster relief, to map floodings, earthquakes, in search and rescue to look for casualties in disasters, and also to protect wildlife in Africa, to protect them from poaching, for instance. But all that big drone revolution could never happen due to technological limitations.
The use of drones in industrial environment is limited due to 3 reasons. The first reason is the use of batteries that limits flight time to only 30 minutes for the best drones. The second limit is that you need people on the site of interest. They must assemble the drone, recharge the batteries, and install the ground control station. All of this takes a lot of time and is very impractical. The most important limit is that all the available drones use radio links, giving them only a 2 miles range. And 2 miles is nothing, this is ridiculous, compared to the size of infrastructures to monitor.
And this is why we started Uavia. Uavia provides a full suite of hardware and software solutions for other businesses who perform real-time aerial inspections, and this completely remotely.
Our first technology is that our drones are connected to the internet by simply using a LTE broadband connection, what allows our clients to control them remotely. That means that the only thing you need to control our drones is a computer connected to the internet, nothing else. We revolutionize the way you can control a drone, and we are the only company in the world providing a drone with an unlimited range. This is what we do. We also designed a connected recharging station. Our drones take off and land on the station, and so that they can be recharged remotely. You no longer need people on the site of interest. Moreover, our vision is that the use of drones should be as simple as possible. That's why we designed a web interface in which you can create mission, fly your drone, analyze all the information from the drones very easily, remotely, and in real time.
But the core of our business is not building drones. We do not build them. The core of our business is having the user interface done as easy as it gets for the customers. So the user interface is developed in-house. All the software is developed in-house. The connected charging stations is also developed in-house, but we rely on subcontract manufacturing for this technology. And the most important thing in our business model is that we buy drones commercial off the shelf, and we retrofit those drones with our embedded systems. We are not building drones. This is a package we provide to our customers. So it's always a package of 3 elements: the user interface, the charging station, and the drone with its payload. All the technology is nearly ready for the market. The drone is ready for market, the custom user interface too, and the charging station should be ready in about a month and a half. The team behind all those technologies is a team of experts, each being experts in their areas and their field of expertise. I'm the CEO of the company, and I have a little aeronautical experience, which my interest for drones comes from.
Pierre, I'm the CTO of the company, and I deal with all the embedded systems.
Luc is in charge of all the networking, programming, and high-level programming. And we hired Jan, which is an expert in UAVs. He has over 25 years of experience in drones and composite materials. So our packages, available packages, are about security, inspection, and agriculture. This is the first 3 packages we designed. All those packages are available for around $25,000 setup fee and $10,000 each month and each drone. We also can provide extras like an intervention vehicle or private 4G LTE networks in case there will be no commercial coverage available to the site of interest for the customer. These 3 packages target sensitive sites market, the energy and transportation market, construction, and also agriculture market. Experts in the market of drones target in 2020 about $7 billion revenue worldwide. So this is a huge market. And we'll do our best to become a leader in the security market, then in energy and transportation, in construction and agriculture. The competitive landscape is, of course, mainly in the US. We have 2 competitors that are Skycatch on the construction market, Drone Deploy for the agriculture market. Of course, there are substitutes to our solutions, like manual drone inspections without the processing power we offer to our customers. And the first drone company to actually have an interest in the security market is called Archondronics. It's a European competitor.
Our main advantage is that we are working on very different aspects of the drone market, and we are the only company providing a drone which is both secured and remotely controlled. And our competitors did not succeed in combining all these different aspects in one integrated solution.
Of course, we have to follow some strategic steps to get our company developed on this market. Our go-to-market strategy is centered on all those 3 packages: security, inspection, and agriculture, using direct selling and a pipeline business model. Then we will rely on overseas retail contracts to expand in South America, in the UK, in Australia, in Eastern Europe, and of course in North America. But our long-term goal for this company is to become a platform with a platform business model, having a kind of open software development kit for third-party companies to develop their own applications using our technology. I won't get into the detail of all the costs and profits of our drones, and we'll come back to this in the Q&A if you want. Basically, a drone costs about $40,000, and the average profit per client and per drone is around $100,000. Which leads us to our financial plan. We rely on a first seed round of $650,000, which should happen before the end of 2015. And next year, in 1 year from now, our Series A round will be around $3 million, and break-even should happen for the first quarter of 2018. Market projections allow us to get a projected revenue of around $13 million in 2019 and a net profit of $3.5 million. Of course, we are already in the process of getting funding in Europe and also in the US, in Washington. For the total of these $650,000, we already have intentions to fund our company for a total of $200,000. The exit strategies will be either an IPO on the French small capitalization market for very small companies, stock market for very small companies in Europe, splitting branches of the company into vertical branches and sell them to specialized players, or selling the whole group to a major drone player like 3D Robotics in the US, for instance. And now, before I will answer all your questions, I'd be glad to answer your questions, but I will first ask you one question. My question will be, do you like baseball? Do you like it? Yeah? So, I'm going to show you a baseball game in France. This is live from Paris. I'm going to show you a baseball field next to the school in real time and from the air. So you will have a chance to meet with Luc. Here you are. Luc, can you hear me? Yeah, okay. I can't hear you, but it's fine here. So this is our drone, and you can see the real-time image and the map just underneath. So let me control that. I will arm it first. It's armed.
Guided mode.
Sorry?
The guided mode, please.
Yeah. And here we are for takeoff. This is a baseball field in Paris. And I'm controlling the drone from right here, just using an internet connection.
Yeah, and actually we have some little problem with the video, but this is because there is a lot of people here in the Wi-Fi connection, so we have some networking problem here.
I can turn it around to show you. So this is Telecom Sud Paris, so our school.
In France.
Just in France, right here. I'm around 12 meters altitude right now. I'm not going to take too much altitude because of the wind, but there it is. So
Yeah.
the flying is all automatic. So I put it in this mode and he will stay there and I can answer all your questions right now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wonderful presentation, and I'm happy to see that the weather is bad in Paris as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yes,
raining
it is.
this morning.
Thank you so much. I guess before I ask my two questions, I just want to preface it that we have invested in a company that does exactly this a year and a half ago.
Oh, which company is it?
It's KSI Data Sciences.
Sorry?
KSI Data Sciences, and I would be more than happy to talk to you about your American competition because there's definitely more than what you have identified.
Okay.
Using exactly the same technology and having a lot lower latency in the video feed.
Yeah, this is around 100 milliseconds video latency, which is nearly the best on the market. And we are in the process of getting a patent on the technology, so I might have to discuss with you around.
I would be more than happy to help you because
Sure.
if you do that, then probably you want to go for worldwide patent, and there are definitely many of them already existing in the US.
Okay.
So I would be happy to talk to you about that.
Sure.
My real question, however, is going back to your cap raise.
To you?
To your capital raise.
Okay.
You are in the seed round, and you are raising 650,000, right?
Exactly.
What's your pre-money valuation?
For the first round, we would like to get a pre-money valuation of around $2.5 million.
$2.5 million pre-revenue, because you haven't generated any revenue yet, right?
No, but the market is huge, so there is huge place for competition,
Okay.
and our valuation is largely based on the amount of time we spent on the technology and the patent too.
Good luck. Thank you.
But if you do not agree with that valuation, I can give you my business card and we can discuss that later.
One limitation you mentioned earlier on is the flight time is still 30 minutes due to charging.
We currently have around 30 minutes flight times using our current prototype, and we're in the process of developing a quite larger drones which should come around 40 minutes flight time, which will be one of the best flight times of the market.
So even for a remote deployment with your charging stations, you have to go
Yep.
physically plant your charging station to get your drones there, correct?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
With your deployment of your charging stations,
Yes.
with a 40-minute limitation, you still have to plant those charging stations remotely for your drone to go to.
Yeah. So you may have understood that our technology is mainly targeted at very repetitive inspections, like one inspection for a day or for a week, and also immediate response. There is quite some wind, so I'm going to land this. Just this. It's going to land by itself. And basically, yes, we are going to have charging station every 20 kilometers. Depending on the use case for the client, it may be less, it may be a little more. It really depends on each client, and that's why we charge setup fees to study what will be the most useful thing to do.
I think this is a fascinating proposal, and what I like about it is that you've simplified it for the client.
Yeah.
I'm one who, I love technology but can't do a thing with it. So the fact that you bring a nice package that's been simplified. What I'm curious about is what are my cost savings?
I have a slide on that, so actually I will put the slide back, if you don't mind. Should be here. Okay. Have the remote, yeah?
Yeah. Which one?
The last one. Oh no, the top one. This, yeah, put this one, okay.
This one?
Yeah. So, all right. The added value for our client really depends on which package we are selling. The first package for security will reduce costs because of personal. A single guardian for a sensitive site costs in France $250,000 for a year. Our solution is much cheaper than that, and it holds a better service because the video surveillance will be mobile and can follow intruders or detect them from the air directly. Another added value is the readiness. Our drone is available 24/7 to start a mission immediately. It can be in the air in 10 seconds to look for an intruder inside a trespasser inside a sensitive site. It's mainly used to save costs associated with false alarms. So to lift doubts, maybe there is a security system that can be triggered and it just triggers by an animal next to the fence. We can prevent the fact of sending a human to just assess that it's a false alarm and sending a drone instead, and we save a huge amount of money doing that for the security market. For the inspection market, mainly we can do inspection on inaccessible or dangerous areas that will cost way more. And we can, in fact, come up with instant results where the data could take a month to come up with real business data that can be used for the clients. And for the agriculture, mainly is to reduce the water consumption, the consumption of pesticides, which costs a lot too. And it's an environmental cost, but also financial cost for the farmers. And we provide a more global analysis instead of having just samples on a field. And like for the inspection market, the results are much more quicker to obtain.
Okay, thank you.
Drone usage is going to become more and more regulated by governing bodies. And
Yeah.
have you anticipated how you're going to help clients work their way through that?
Sure, exactly. So things work quite differently in the US and in Europe and in France particularly. In France, we have what we call the DGAC, which is the French FAA, basically. The FAA had regulations drawn in 2012, and in fact, France was the first country to issue regulations on drones. New regulations are expected to come at the end of the year, at the end of 2015. And in fact, we are in direct discussions with French FAA to be allowed to commercially sell our drones. And it's a discussion chain with the customers, us, and the FAA directly. We know them, they know us, and we're in the process of getting an exemption from the drone law so we can use our technology completely legally in France. Basically, in the US, it's exactly the same way of thinking. The FAA issued a complete ban on drones in the US, but companies are granted exemptions from the FAA so that they can fly drones legally because they got special authorizations from the government. There are a lot of companies in the US having those exemptions. It's called a 333 exemptions. Don't ask me why, but it's called like that. That's part of our future work to expand to the US. In fact, we will work directly, I think, on the Virginia Tech campus because we recently met with the Mid-Atlantic Aviation Partnership, which is right here, and which is in direct relation with the FAA. And Virginia Tech is one of the 6 test sites for drones in the US. So I think it's a good opportunity for us to come here and develop our products in an experimental use case there. And having the FAA prove that it's safe for us to make our products commercially available into the US.
If I understand correctly, the equipment was on a lease basis for your customers. Have you guys kind of anticipated or thought about how you're going to handle the support, the huge support cost and support personnel that are going to be required to maintain that equipment?
Yeah, of course we have thought about that, and I may come back to the slide. So, yeah, I will come back to this slide. This is better. So mainly there is little to no maintenance on our drones. The only maintenance you have is to change batteries like one time for a year. And we make sure the user experience is as simple as possible and the user can do most of the things that needs to be done on a drone. But more than that, we in France have a network of drone operators that can actually intervene on drones if, like in a night, a security company, the drone is not working, etc. He can go and replace parts because he will be part of our network of operators. We can rely on our retailers for that in a first, on the first steps of the company.
I'd also like to just say it was a very nice presentation.
Thank you.
Thank
folks
you.
made. I have a question. Have you tried to team up with any of your potential customers, like pipeline or utility companies or anything like that, to try to get them, gauge their interest in what they need?
We have 5 interested customers in France, also interested retailers in South America, but for the interesting customers in France, it's the French railroad company, the national railroad company in France. Actually, a problem in France is that we get our cables, the copper cables on the railway tracks, they get stolen, and it costs 100 million euros for each year for just the cable being stolen. So it's a huge problem in France. And they are trying to use drones to do monitoring and surveillance on the railway tracks, and we are in the process of having a pilot contract with them to prevent this from happening using drones. The other companies are the French Air Force for the sensitive sites market, and 2 or 3 other large companies, mostly it's huge companies in France that we are trying to work with them because it's a way for us to have weight for the regulations authority in France.
Yeah. Okay, so I have a couple questions from the audience here.
Yeah.
How does the drone work in countries that struggle with a regular internet connection?
That's why we have a partnership with a French company which is called Airlinks. And yeah, put the slide, please. Airlinks is working on private LTE connections. So basically, if we have, let's say, an oil refinery in Africa, or an uranium plant in the desert, something like this, of course you don't have LTE coverage available there. So we put our own antennas there. We have a partnership with a French company, which we retail for them LTE bubbles, like private bubbles. For around 20 kilometers, you have LTE coverage outside of that bubble, and it's a local network. We can use our drone on, and also provide the communications in internal communications for the company. But that's another commercial usage, and that's up to them and not to us. Okay. So we may sell combined packages. Okay, are you? There's a company called SenseFly. Are you familiar with them? Okay, I guess they're a competitor that they're claiming that can fly up to 5 hours and be cloud controlled. So what advantages and disadvantages does your are you offering? To be honest, we know them pretty much. We are in relation with a lot of drone actors in France. We are members of the Drone National Association in France. And SenseFly it's not a competitor, it's more a substitute, because what they provide is more manual inspections. So they don't really provide cloud-controlled drones like we do, because they use the cloud to upload the data, but not to actually control the drone. The best company in France, which will be closer to competitor, is actually a drone manufacturer. They use 3G connections, not 4G, 3G connections to provide a video backlink, etc. They are testing their solution right now, and the best they did is 16 kilometers range, so about 10 miles. And we just did it in front of you in, like, I don't know, 5,000 miles, something like this.
Maybe 7,000 kilometers.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.